Everybody out there, welcome to the Literate Nerds. Once again, we are Literate Nerd. Today, my guest is, my first guest, I should say, Mr. Jason Perun is here with us. We're going to do a little segment that we like to call Near Mint to Poor Condition, where we talk about something that is positive that has happened in nerddom, hence Near Mint, and something negative that has happened in nerddom, hence the name Poor Condition. Once again, my guest here for this segment is Mr. Jason Perun.
Hello.
And the first thing I'm going to talk about real quick is the Near Mint. Mike Mignola is going to have in March a 2020 quarantine sketchbook released from Dark Horse Comics, and all proceeds are going to benefit the World Central Kitchen. So that's a really great organization. And if you want to find out about that, Mignola is pretty easy to find. You can go to his, he has a Facebook page, he has a Twitter, he has Instagram. I believe it's Art of Mike Mignola is his Twitter.
Have you seen any of the art from it yet?
Yeah, well, it's all if you follow him on Instagram or if you're on Facebook, he's been posting them and he's been selling the original sketches at auction already. So he's already been generating a ton of income. I don't have the exact amount, but I'll find that and footnote it. But he's been, generating a good amount of revenue for World Central Kitchen. And I'm sure the book is going to be gorgeous. It's 200 of the original, 200 of the illustrations that he's done. I'll send you some links later on, Jason. He did sketches of various kaiju. He did sketches of cereal mascots like Frankenberry and Count Chocula. He finally got around like 3 months in. He's like, people have been asking for him, and my kid will tell me if I'm doing them right. And he did a whole bunch of Pokemon, and he was totally unfamiliar with any of them. But
wow,
he was like, "Yeah, I'll do it." And
in his style, those must look really cool.
Oh, they're just spectacular. And it's one of the interesting things that the quarantine, at least in the first couple of months, really generated is a lot of artists. We're stuck at home and freaking, everybody's freaking out.
Well, Jim Lee did those 60 auction pieces that raised a ton of money.
Yeah.
The stores that were closed.
And do you know about the Bill Sienkiewicz Butt Project? Are you familiar with that?
No.
Well, Sienkiewicz posted a photograph of himself that was an anatomy drawing that he had used for an illustration he had done some years ago. And it was him literally naked, turning with his right arm back facing the audience and his tuchus facing us as well, with a pistol in his hand. Okay. And he posted it on Facebook with a black box over his behind. I don't know why I'm cleaning this up over his ass. So he posted this on Facebook as a gag, and it went viral amongst the comic book community. And artists just started doing their own version of that photograph.
Oh,
and
that's hysterical.
I stopped counting it over 85 because I had actually spoken with Bill briefly and with Stephen Hovek briefly about possibly putting together a book to benefit. We were talking about the Hero Initiative. And Howard Chaykin said it was a great idea. I haven't spoken to Bill about it other than like one brief message forever. And of course he's, Bill's incredibly busy.
Yeah.
I haven't spoken with Steve about it, but I'm going to bring it up to both of them in the near future. Once things start opening up, it'll be easier to, get something like that done.
Just a book of all the sketches of
just all the sketches. Yeah. And just, donate all the money to Hero Initiative, which is another great
Absolutely.
Charitable organization.
That's the one that's for the older comic book people that don't have like 401ks and stuff.
Yeah, don't have 401ks and pensions.
Okay. I know I've donated, but I couldn't remember why I donated.
Yeah, it's a really solid organization. All right, and so all right, well, let me look at this. The other thing I wanted to talk about that just broke news is some artwork was stolen from the great Trina Robbins. And there's an article on CBR that just hit. I shared it on Facebook. And I mentioned it I just sent it to Dave Spurlock, who is an art agent and dealer, and he represents he deals with the Frazetta family, publishes all of their all of the Frank Frazetta art books and a bunch of other stuff, and he shared it, and he's certainly got more bandwidth in the community than I do. But legendary, this is from CBR.com. Legendary cartoonist Trina Robbins has revealed that 5 pieces of original comic art from the 1970s have been stolen and urged fans to speak up if they see anything that could lead to the artwork's recovery. It's a post to her Facebook page. May the woman responsible for the art exhibit suffered a traffic. Evidently the woman who had the art exhibit is beside herself as well. She had suffered the tragic loss of a daughter due to cancer. So she told Trina to take time returning her art. Then this month I ran out of patience, demanded my art back, only discovered she returned the pages via FedEx back in May. I saw the FedEx receipt. Someone had signed for the package, signing my name as R. Trina, but I never signed my name like that. So evidently, evidently there was, Trina was, waiting for her art to get back from this exhibit. And the woman sent the stuff back via FedEx, and somebody stole it. So if anybody, spread the word, of course. If anybody hears about Trina's art, this is a developing story. As I said, CBR.com, that article just hit this afternoon.
It's a good article. People should definitely give it a look. And it also taught me that she's a co-creator of Vampirella.
Oh, geez, I didn't realize that she's a co-creator of Vampirella.
I had no idea.
Wow. Yeah, her career is just crazy, man.
Cap.
What was that, brother?
That's a feather to have in your cap.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
At 82 years old.
Yeah. Vampirella is, a strange character, but in some ways has transcended, and become in some ways a feminist icon, strangely.
Yeah, because I think it's because of cosplay. I think that she's become a I feel this comfortable sort of character instead of what she originally was when I was a kid, which was the, ooh, oh my gosh, look at that in the store. So scandalous. And now it's like there's people at cons walking around like, yeah, I'm here and I'm proud and I look great. Enjoy,
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, geez, I had the classic Vampirella door poster that order out of the back of Famous Monsters.
Yeah.
Which was actually published by the same company, but published by Warner. All right. So, and the other poor condition subject we're going to talk about, and are we ready to get into this?
Yeah, let's go.
All right. We're going to talk about Mr. Andrew Rev and Terrific Productions, LLC. I would first like to credit Do Terrifically on Twitter. He's someone that sent me a link. He's cataloged all of the various articles, and I have to thank him very much because basically he did my research for me. Do Terrifically Better, actually, I should say. And it's at TerrificCly _HERE on Twitter. I have to give him credit because he sent me a link with there's 4 really solid articles, one from Comic Beat, one from News Rant, one from Critical Blast, and the article that I've took stuff from is from IO9, and they did a really solid breakdown about what's going on with Andrew Rev. All right, let's do a little background about Andrew. Andrew first came on the scene, I guess, around 1990. When he bought Comico. I'm just going to read a little bit from.
I just have a quick question. Do we know where he earned his money to buy Comico?
Well, that's the thing. We'll get to that in a second. Okay. Because Andrew's got a little kind of shady past going on here.
Yeah, that's
so. All right, from this is from the IO9 article about this, about Terrific Production LLC. Andrew Rev, REV. You can easily find this. So Rev burst onto the comic scene in 1990 when he bought Comico, an independent publisher that was poised to rival DC and Marvel with series like Bill Willingham's The Elementals and Matt Wagner's Grendel. Those books are both great, and Comico did have a bunch of great stuff, and they put out really quality books, but I don't necessarily know they weren't rivaling Marvel and DC. I mean, they were
they definitely had shelf space back in the day.
Yeah, they were one of the big independents. Unfortunately, a string of bad financial decisions led Comico to file for bankruptcy, leading Rev to come in from the outside and take it over. Rev refused to say how much he paid for Comico, but in a series of long and often hard to understand emails, he shared how he came into an industry eager but inexperienced, only to wind up being taken advantage of. Note, many of Rev's responses conducted over email contain spelling and grammatical errors. We've chosen to present them as is.
and it's joyous to take a look at them, because I don't know if he was typing with his nose. I don't know. Like, it was just fantastic.
I was ill-equipped to take on the revival of Comico. I had no staff. Imagine how I felt having paid their salary, and then they treated me as a sucker, Rev wrote. With only love of comics and an A in art appreciation in college, I had to figure out, without YouTube or Wikipedia, how comics were made. My original goal before I arrived was for us to be passive investors in 1/3 of Comico. But the president, after he saw I had no obligation personally for his staff's salary, went and handed me the keys and said he was going fishing. This is how my book on the comic industry will possibly start. Oh, God. IO9 was unable to contact the former owners of Comico for comment.
That's a pity. I would have loved to have heard of that.
Yeah. So now reports on the sale from Comics Journal described Rev as this is once again from the IO9 article. Reports on the sale from Comics Journal described Rev as a Chicago businessman and native of Hungary who worked in the direct mail business and had done consulting for Citibank. Okay. A 2017 court case involving his ex-wife's property showed he'd also tried to start a software business in Vietnam around a decade prior, but that he made no money from it. Otherwise, Rev is an enigma. He's believed to be 68 years old and living in California, has a small digital footprint, and his life between Comico and Terrific Production is largely unknown.
It's mostly when he was selling snake oil out of the back of a wagon.
Rev refused to provide or confirm with IO9 any details on himself and noted that he expects nothing personal in this article.
How'd that work out for him?
Well, I mean, really, there's not a lot on this guy. So, all right. One of the things that I wanted to mention about Willingham is